finally, folks, we've had the announcement we've all been waiting for. You know my thoughts on this fight. You know I think it makes perfect sense, despite the whole MMA community ripping me to bits for thinking this. We have Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. In March, UFC 299, O'Malley's headlining his card, and I want to say this. I said this in my last video. That means Islam Makhachev is not going to be back in March or April. I think Islam comes back in May against Oliveira. I do not think they're going to use Islam until about May, something for the middle of the year. Because think about this. If O'Malley's headlining the March card, they're not going to have somebody above O'Malley. You know, they're going to reuse O'Malley to boost his superstar potential. They're not going to have 2 title fights on that card because they're not going to want to pay out 2 champions. McGregor on the April card, UFC 300, Conor McGregor, makes so much sense. Man who's changed the sport like 7 years later after being double champ. Give the man his respect. UFC 300, McGregor, that gives me goosebumps. That's mental. Conor McGregor headlining UFC 300 is huge. You're not going to have a title fight under that because you can't really do that. So, I mean, the only way that would make any sense is if they do Islam as the co-main event and McGregor as the main event and have McGregor fight for an interim title. But they're never going to pay out 2 of the biggest stars in the UFC at once. Because think about it, McGregor, without having a belt in his contract stipulation, he gets pay-per-view points. I think he gets 10% of the revenue, something like that. Because he's changed the man's a fucking superstar. Like, the man is just incredible. Not that I like McGregor or anything, folks, but I'd say Islam comes back in May, because how else are they going to do it? Because they can't really add in another pay-per-view in March, because then that would be UFC 300. And, you know, I think they might have O'Malley fight. I think they genuinely might have O'Malley fight in Arizona in March. But if not, can you imagine it being Vegas and the April card being like the Vegas Sphere? Because I think Dana White was actually having a little look at that, because that would be fucking incredible. Oh my God. I'm going to orgasm thinking about that. Anyway. Back to the regular point of the video, folks. Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. O'Malley was on the MMA Hour yesterday. It was announced shortly before he went on that show, and he was like, yeah, this is the perfect fight, you know. Mainly because of how the first fight went down, this is the perfect fight, because first of all, it's the biggest fight you can make in the division. You know, O'Malley's just become champion. He's a big star. You don't want to give him a small fight. Like, for example, if he fought Merab, it's like, yeah, that's a really good fight. That's a great fight as fans, but Vera and O'Malley will really go at it, you know, and I feel like it's a stylistically good matchup for O'Malley, because, you know, I feel like he'll be able to keep Marlon Vera at bay from takedowns and stuff like this. And also, if you're the UFC, you're thinking, fuck, right? Realistically, if Merab beats O'Malley, that's O'Malley's hype down the drain. So we want to get as much money out of O'Malley as we can before he loses. And I think O'Malley's absolutely brilliant. Like, the power that comes from his accuracy is absolutely unmatched. It's incredible what he can do. However, I must admit, I mean, I love Sean O'Malley. Like, I mean, I think O'Malley's great, you know. I think he's a breath of fresh air. He's cool, he's charismatic, but I think he's a wee bit shy. I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but I think I love O'Malley. I love him. You guys have seen the videos I've made on him. I predicted him to knock out Aljo in the second round, and he did it. I'm very good at predicting fights with O'Malley, because I've watched him since he's been 3-0, and I've had him on Instagram since he had 4,000 followers. Do you know what I mean? This is where we're at right now. I want to say this though, folks. When Marlon Vera phoned Ariel Helwani during the interview, and like he was talking shit to O'Malley kind of, and we've seen it against Jan as well, he kind of just sits there and he's like, okay bud. He doesn't, like, I'd love O'Malley just to go, mate, I'm gonna fucking clean your jaw or something, but he's just not like that. I just think he's just this goofy troll more than like I mean, we've seen clips of Aldo. McGregor saying, tell him I'm his daddy. Tell him I'm going to invade his village on horseback and kill this man stone dead. Whereas O'Malley would be more of like, yeah, good one, bro. Good one. Learn to talk. A bit more like Dominic Cruz style of trash talk, where it's just like goofy, but not, you know, it's more of like being a bit of a troll, a bit of like a wind up, where it's like, I can't describe it. I feel like he's a little bit shy. I'd love to see O'Malley come out of his shell and just absolutely rip someone to bits, but I just think he's quite stoic. He doesn't want to waste his energy with that, but he's quite he's quite funny on social media, you know, but when it comes to like slagging someone and ripping someone to pieces, I was watching that interview last night and I was like, wow, I doubt Marlon Vera is in his head, right? Because realistically, he's going out there to do a job, ignore all that. He's very good at just breathing, taking his time. I don't think that'll affect him too much. But in the build-up, I feel like it would really hurt O'Malley's career if Vera went out there and just ripped him to bits with the trash talk and O'Malley didn't really give him anything back. I would love O'Malley to trash talk, then go out there and knock him out, because that would really boost him in terms of building the fight and his future and like how like much value he is to the UFC. Because if he goes out there and he doesn't really slag him off too much and wins, it's like fantastic. Wow, Vera said all this, O'Malley went out there and did it. But imagine the back and forth and how high the stakes would be, the belt on the line, you know? And everyone hates this fight because they think Merab deserves it or give Aljo his rematch. And it's like, no. The only loss on the champion's record is to this individual. And this individual is in the top 10 of the division. If the champion wants to batter this man for having the only loss on his career, the champion is completely entitled to do that. It's the biggest fight you can make, and it does make sense. If you're the champion of a division and you want to write the only loss on your career off, do it, and do it on the biggest stage for the most money in front of the most people, so the whole world knows the first fight was a fluke. This man's an individual that I will outclass. And O'Malley was winning the first fight. He was doing very well with the leg kicks, the kicks to the body. It's very difficult to finish Chito Vera, and I think Sean O'Malley will finish Chito Vera. I'm going to say it in the first round. I'm going to say it. I've just said that. I've just said it. I think he catches him with a straight right hand and drops him and fucking flatlines Marlon Vera. Recently, Vera hasn't looked good. Against Munoz, he didn't look good. Against Sandhagen, he looked awful, like an off night. And there's a lot of reasons I think go into it, you know. Tim Welch, O'Malley's coach, was saying on his podcast with the Schmo was saying about how Marlon Vera's recently started doing psychedelics, mushrooms in his past few camps to try and, you know, calm himself down in camp, rest, not be stressed and all this. And it's like, maybe that plays a factor in his performances, you know, he's just not as tuned up mentally anymore. But I also think, look at the great performances he's had. Frankie Edgar was beating him like senseless. Dominic Cruz was piecing him up, but then he always finds a way to win. Corey Sandhagen demolished him. Rob Font was doing very well against Vera, setting a significant strike record on Marlon Vera. But then at the end of each round, Vera catches him with something big to win it. I think O'Malley has the skill set to really, really, really hurt Vera. I think the first 4 minutes of the fight, it'll be a lot of teeps to the body, a lot of leg kicks, a lot of jabs, a lot of O'Malley fainting, like, and Vera doing this thing, walking him down, being this big. He's a big bantamweight, Vera. Like, it's a really good fight because they're both big bantamweights. And then I think Vera will catch him with a few jabs. You know, O'Malley will move. O'Malley will start a step to the right, bunk the same left or right hand he caught Peter Yan with. But I think this time it'll put him out. I just feel like Vera will be coming forward recklessly and just relying on his toughness, but O'Malley is so fast and so accurate. I think he catches him and Vera kind of starts back and lands back on his head, and then that's it. And I can't really give you like too much of an in-depth prediction. I love Marlon Vera as a fighter. I think he's so entertaining to watch. However, I think he's a tailor-made matchup for Sean O'Malley, though. You guys, Peter Yan is a tailor-made matchup for O'Malley. If you remove the aspect of the takedowns, it's a very good fight, and Yan's incredible on the feet. But Yan is more slippery. He's fast, he's slick, he's strong, he's defensive. But Marlon Vera is kind of like rocky, you know, he walks forward, relies on his toughness a wee bit too much, tries to be technical, but a lot of the time doesn't have that skill set. And I think it just comes down to his reaction time and how slow he is. Marlon Vera makes reads very well, though I must say he times things very well when he needs to find that shot. But I can actually see O'Malley like tripping him on the inside. If O'Malley wins the first 2 rounds and realizes, okay, there's 3 rounds left in this fight, I can't, like, and I think he knows, he doesn't want it to be a boring fight, you know, maybe in the back of his mind, he knows he's not going to get Vera out of there, and he needs to take a round off. He's going to take his foot off the gas slightly, land a high volume of strikes against Vera, but maybe grab an inside trip, or that, like, fucking trip he was going for against Jan, and I think Sean O'Malley flatlines Marlon Vera in the first round, but if not, he'll play with his food, I think, while he recovers his energy a wee bit, and what a fight. Holy shit. What a fucking fight that this will be. Wow. It's perfect. Who the fuck wants Merab to fight for the title? No one cares about Merab. He's so shit to watch. I think O'Malley knocks out Merab. I think O'Malley knocks out Henry Cejudo. Do you know what I mean? I think O'Malley's toughest fights are behind him now. This is like, the Aljo fight was a very, very tough fight. I was the only one on YouTube who said he was going to win. The Peter Yan fight is such a tough fight, and arguably he didn't win, but if you sit and watch it with no volume, you can give it to him, you know? Vera, 1 title defense. I'm so confident of it, and I think O'Malley will be the favourite going into this, but do not underestimate Vera. Vera is a powerful little individual, he's a strong man, and we're going to see what happens. But, folks, I think O'Malley gets it done. What do you think? And this is just crazy. I mean, we've got Volkanovski to Puria. How about this? How about October, maybe? How about, like, O'Malley fights in March, April, May, June, July, August, maybe like 5 months later, he fights to Puria for a second belt. International Fight Week, you know, maybe something like that. O'Malley becomes double champ, then goes back. I mean, he said this. He said he'd become double champ, then go back down to bantamweight and become the greatest bantamweight of all time. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. I mean, Tapuria is a very difficult matchup for O'Malley. I mean, I don't know if I'd fancy his chances. I'd actually prefer O'Malley to fight Volk, just because if you beat Volkanovski, holy fuck, a bantamweight just beat Volkanovski, you know? And I think O'Malley is a bit afraid of Volk, but I think if Volk goes out there and looks bad against Tapuria, fuck it, I'll go up there and fight Volk if he demolishes Vera, you know? And I feel like, imagine the superstar levels that would bring him to. Holy shit, what do you guys think? Comment your predictions down below. It's good to be back. I'm heading to Thailand in 3 days' time, folks. Love yous all. I'm going to see you very soon. Goodbye.